Good morning, gentlemen. This is the Crisis to Courage Daily Prayer for Men, and it is November the 9th, 2020. If you're just joining us, we meet every single day. This week it's going to be a little bit earlier because I have meetings at 8, but I've already informed you guys of that. And we have themes every single day. And the theme for today, it's a beautiful one, and it starts out in Ephesians 6. I'll go right there. Finally, be strong in the Lord, not self. Finally, be strong in the Lord, not self. We're going to start with Ephesians 6:10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord. Doesn't say yourself, doesn't say your job, doesn't say anything except be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. So finally be strong in the Lord and the power of his might, not yours, not the people around you, but his might. Verse 11, put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles, the tricks, the methodologies, the strategies of the devil. So this could be like similar to putting on a new coat, this coat of righteousness, where you're righteous before God, not in sin consciousness where you're constantly concerned about sin. No, put on the whole armor of God, that the purpose you may be able to stand, not get tossed around about. So you'll be able to stand against what? The wiles of the devil. The devil has tricks, strategies, methods against you. Gentlemen, he has studied you. He has studied you ever since you came out of your mother's womb. So you don't want to focus on trying to be strong yourself. You want to be strong in the Lord. And you want to lean fully into this new identity and leave that old flesh behind. So we're going to go into Romans 6. Romans 6. Let me just get there. Okay. So it says, what shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? That's the flesh continuing in sin. You don't want to continue in sin. That's the flesh. It says, Romans 6:2, certainly not. How shall we who died to sin live any longer in it? It's like keeping on, like let's say you wore your clothes yesterday and you keep on putting the same old clothes on. I had a friend who didn't like to do dry cleaning, and so he would continue putting on the same clothes, and his clothes started to stink. I mean, even though he was a professional, his clothes started to stink because he kept on putting on the same clothes. You don't want to do that. It says, Romans 6:2, what shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? Certainly not. How shall we who died to sin live any longer in it? Because Jesus Christ paid the price. We don't want to stay in that sin. You don't want to keep putting on those dirty clothes day after day after day. That's not where you want to go. We're going to look at Matthew 21. We don't want to do that, gentlemen. We want to leave the old flesh in the dust. And then look what happens if you start putting on righteousness. You know, I've met many of you men, and you want to be strong and you want to be powerful, right? Well, the most power that you could have is to represent God's Son. I mean, that's serious power. Now look at the things that Jesus Christ said you could do. And if you understand this account, we're in Matthew 21:18. Now, Jesus Christ was going back into the city, and he was a little bit hungry. And this is in Matthew 21:18. Now, in the morning, as he returned to the city, this is Jesus Christ, he was hungry. And seeing a fig tree by the road, he came to it and found nothing on it but leaves, and said to it. So sometimes when God gives you promises about things, you know, you have to look, you have to anticipate. So Jesus Christ was hungry, and he was anticipating finding something to eat. And seeing a fig tree by the road, he came to it and found nothing. So Jesus Christ, he came to the situation that looked like there was nothing there. And that's exactly what happened. And seeing a fig tree by the road, he came to it and found nothing on it, the fig tree, but leaves, and said to it, Jesus Christ. So he spoke to the tree. He expected to find something. He expected to find these little, like, they were like candy apparently before the figs would show up, and he wanted a snack. He didn't find anything. And this is what he did. And he said to it, the fig tree, let no fruit grow on you ever again. Immediately the fig tree withered away. So basically, this tree just died overnight. And the scholar said it kind of, you know, died in the reverse. So it died immediately, and it died overnight. And when the disciples saw it, they marveled, saying, how did the fig tree wither away so soon? So God worked in Jesus Christ to have the situation happen, and he took it as an experience or a learning opportunity. So Jesus answered and said to them, assuredly, I say to you, if you have faith and do not doubt, you will not only do what was done to the fig tree, but also if you say to this mountain, be removed and be cast into the sea, it will be done. And whatever things you ask in prayer, believing, you will receive. And when it says that and, it means when God reveals things to you, gentlemen, when he reveals things to you, he says something is available. There's a promise, okay? You anticipate that promise. You don't stay in leaning into that old identity. You don't keep that new coat on. You leave the old flesh in the dust. And with this fresh perspective, you bring to pass what was impossible. And whatever things you ask in prayer, believing what God said to you, holding on to that promise, believing you will receive. Father, we thank you for these men finally being strong in the Lord, not self, leaning fully into their new identities, leaving that old flesh in the dust and bringing to pass the impossible, as Jesus Christ stated in Matthew 21. In Jesus' name.